Hello everyone, welcome to Spinning Iris. What's the first thing you think about when you hear the name D.H. Lawrence? I dare you to write it down in the comments. First thing I think about when I hear the name D.H. Lawrence is a man and a woman frolicking, naked, among wildflowers. I wouldn't be surprised if most of you said Lady Chatterley's lover. I know my answer is not weird. If you've read any of D.H. Lawrence's novels, you know what I mean. Lady Chatterley's Lover is probably most famous for its very frank, rather beautiful descriptions of sex, as well as its use of two certain four-letter words, which I can't say here. And those intimate moments are sprinkled among brilliant nuggets of social commentary, relationship dynamics, and philosophical discussions. And in the first few pages you get a pretty good idea of what caused 1920s Brits and Americans to get their proverbial panties in a twist. But nothing really descriptive until, let's see. And it takes a little bit before we get to the first actual love scene. I say love because it's not really love. I have so many. It's not really, there's so much good stuff in here. And I'd say it's about halfway before we get to the worst of the four-letter words. And the way it's used is not really that bad. While it might not be as epic as The Rainbow in terms of overarching story, and it is not as devastating as Women in Love, it is a great example of D.H. Lawrence's evolution as a writer. It also has a better ending than Women in Love. And if you've read Women in Love, you know exactly what I mean. In Lady Chatterley's Lover, Lawrence has painted a picture of a world that's been changed by a devastating war and industrial progress, and is very much on the verge of another devastating change. In fact, there are some passages that are rather prophetic. Considering Lawrence was very seriously ill when he wrote the majority of this, and the fact that getting it copied and published and distributed was pretty much a nightmare. It is a miracle that we even have it available to us to read. Not to mention the fact that it was banned for 40 some odd years. It's especially astounding that we still have this. After the last chapter, and at the very end, after the end of the novel, at least in my copy, there is an interesting, well, it's not really an essay, it's sort of I guess it's a critical response to Lady Chatterley's critics. It's a combination of critically critiquing the critics and sort of the state of sex in, well, England specifically, but I guess in the world in general at that time. It's sort of reminiscent in some ways of the chapter in Women in Love where Birkin extols the virtues of a chair he's looking to buy. It's sort of that beautiful rambling from one topic to the next, and it's all interconnected loosely and then comes back around to the original point. In this case, he's of course defending what he wrote, so sort of exploring his own thoughts and his thought process of sort of the idea of what's going on with the characters. And in this case, he's exploring his thoughts and his thought process on the subject. He even gets a little into religion at one point in connection, which kind of makes sense, because while reading it, I kind of felt the relationship between Connie and Mellors sort of biblical in how it was described. If it's in any other editions, I have a feeling a lot of people just sort of skip it, but you really shouldn't. It's so fascinating to just read Lawrence's thought process on some things. In a nutshell, it's basically everything that I possibly could have wanted out of a D.H. Lawrence novel, only a little more easy to understand. A word of advice, though, for anybody wanting to dive into D.H. Lawrence's novels, not just Lady Chatterley's Lover. Take your time. Don't rush through it, because you'll probably miss something great, or your head will explode. And for the love of Pete, don't read an abridgment. Everyone deserves an unexpurgated D.H. Lawrence experience. Lady Chatterley's Lover was not a disappointment, and I'm going to have a lot of fun preparing the banned, challenged, and burned video for this one. Until next time, take care. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, whatever. Bye-bye.